Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Welcome to the third session of Zoom into your DEEN. All right. We hope that you guys have been having an excellent experience so far. I know for a fact that based on the speakers who have been coming here, I myself have been learning so much, right? Now, before we get into this session, let me just remind all of you to have your pen and paper ready. Unfortunately, I don't have my pen and paper today. Not necessarily something that's going to work on top of a waterfall with all of the water, but I hope all of you all have got your pen and paper ready. Now, we started off the journaling challenge at our very first session, right? And we spoke about why we are doing it, how we are going to do it, right? So just a quick run through. We're doing this so that we learn to sit down, to slow our minds down, to slow our thoughts down, and to observe what's going on inside of our minds, all right? Because sometimes we're caught up in the fast-paced life that we live, and we don't really have the time to slow down and reflect. Now, journaling presents an excellent opportunity, all right, to do this. And that is why we thought we would include it in this Zoom into your DEEN session. Now, last time we gave you all the topic of if I was the president, right? If I was the president, what would I do? All right. So can some of you type in the chat box, maybe not the entire thing that you wrote down, but maybe a few points that you wrote down, like what you'd change or what you would do differently, you know, if you were the president of Sri Lanka. So let's just go on and type that in the chat box. Can I be heard now? So Hania says, I would make the educational system use technology. Oh, alhamdulillah, brilliant. So that's something like what we're doing right now. I would promote animal welfare. I would beautify the country and treat people though they are okay. So regardless, so Mariam says, regardless of people being rich or poor, that I will treat them well, right? Alhamdulillah. And that is what, in fact, Islam teaches us, right? Regardless of our wealth, regardless of our status, regardless of which segment of society we come from, Jannah is something that all of us can achieve, right? The only way we are ahead or behind anyone is based on our taqwa, right? Based on how close we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is not something that money or status or opportunity or position in this life restricts us from doing, right? That's something all of us can do. That's one of the beauties and simplicities of our religion, alhamdulillah, right? I would help the poor, mashallah. Ban single-use plastic, yes, most definitely. In fact, even here, while we were traveling up the hills, it's quite sad to see a lot of people disposing plastic along the trails, and it's such a beautiful place. The creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so beautiful. The greenery, the clear skies, the clear water, and then when you see that bottle of plastic or a piece of polythene, it just kind of takes away that beauty. I'm not even talking about the bad impacts, right, or the negative implications that has on the environment, right? So I would definitely neatly back Mariam Sabri on this, inshallah. Inshallah, if you do run for president, Mariam Sabri, you have my vote. And Ibrahim says, I would give charity, alhamdulillah. I would keep all Muslims only because there might be a fight within the non-Muslims. I would keep all Muslims only because there might be a fight with the non-Muslims. I'm not really sure, Brother Hamdan Shamil, what you mean by that. Maybe if you can elaborate a little bit on that. All right, but nevertheless, it's really nice to see that all of y'all have actually put in an effort to jot these points down and participate actively in this challenge, right? Now, just a reminder on the format, we wanted to start every journaling session with the date, the time, what we hope to do within the course of the day, and finally, whatever topic that it is that we have given you to write for the week. For example, last time was about what I would do if I was the president of the country. And today, inspired by what I'm doing right now, what we thought was we would give all of you, right? So every day you journal. Let's say you journal 5 days of the week, 6 days of the week, 7 days of the week, whatever, right? Every day that you journal, I want you to imagine, right? Now, imagine that you got to visit or go, right, to your favorite destination, right? Your dream destination. But the catch is this destination can't be someplace you've gone before, right? So say, for example, you've been to Kandy, say you're someone from Colombo and you've been to Kandy, and maybe that's your favorite destination, maybe that's your favorite location, but for the purpose of this exercise, I want you to pick a location that you've never been to, that you've never been to, and I want you to write down what you think, right? What you think that experience might be like. Okay, what might that experience be like? Say, for example, say I'd never come to LA before, right? So then I'd sit down and I'd think, okay, from what I've heard, LA's got a lot of greenery. So I'm going to imagine going to LA is going to be going up a lot of curvy roads, a lot of curvy roads. And I'm going to guess that maybe on the way, I'm going to see a lot of fruit stores. You know, like fruits that are really expensive in Colombo, but super, super, you know, affordable on your way to places that are out of Colombo. All right. There's going to be a lot of that. And then I'm going to see a lot of tourists, right? Because they're going to be wanting to come to this destination. What might they be like? You know, what would they say about my country? What would they say about the environment here in Sri Lanka? The people in Sri Lanka, right? Would they say that we are good people? Would they say that we're helpful? Would they say that we are friendly? Would they say that we are kind? All right. So it's an imagination, right? It's got to be a destination that you've never visited, right? So just to be clear, some of y'all are asking me what the topic is. The topic is basically you need to imagine a destination you'd like to go to someday. So it could be another country, it could be another place in Sri Lanka, whatever, right? A destination. Say you've never been to Singapore and you'd like to go to Singapore one day. Now you're going to sit down and imagine you're going to go to Singapore. And I want you to write everything, right? I want you to write how you think the journey will be. Then I want you to write when you go there, what do you think will be there? I want you to write what kind of food are you going to
I can't
try out, food taste, right? What kind of experience? Okay, so if you're going to journal for multiple days, if you're going to do it for 3-4 days, then alhamdulillah, you have an opportunity to pick a few locations, right? Not just one location. You can pick a few locations. So like we said, it's not mandatory for you guys to be journaling every day. Okay, it's not mandatory, but if you can, it's obviously beneficial for you. So what I want you to do is at least, so like I said last time and the time before that and the time before that, at least 3 days of the week, at least 3 days of the week, try to take the time out to journal, inshallah. Okay, so this time's topic, just before I hand over to our guest today, this time's topic is going to be, if I could go to my dream destination, what
Why this isn't? Because it's stuck. It's just a tree. He's outside traveling like that. He used it.
Can I be heard now?
Yes.
Right, I think I'm getting a better signal here. Right, I think now I can be heard. Okay, and I'm unmuted as well. All right, so that is your topic for this week. I hope that is clear. And what I will do now is let me try and introduce our guests. Speaker for today, and I have made says if you guys have Zoom into Ramadan session, you already know who this is. You know what an amazing session today's one is going to be, and I'm super excited for this topic as well. It's really interesting. So Br.Sameer Yunus is a former news presenter who was the youngest to read English primetime news on MTV. Mashallah, a product of Whittle International. Sameer is now a well-known EMCEE in the Muslim community, especially helping religious and charity organizations. Sameer was the host of Sri Lanka's only English language Ramadan talk show on TV called Ramadan with You. I'm sure a lot of you have been watching that program as well. He's the country director of ASACIA Fabrics Sri Lanka, the largest distributors of furnishing fabrics in South Asia. Br.Sameer is also a keen cricketer. He's the vice captain of his cricket club. He regularly presents cricket shows on thepapare.com, and his voice is commonly heard from the commentary box of school cricket matches broadcasted by them. Sameer's ambition is to become an international cricket commentator, and I'm definitely sure, inshallah, one day he's going to get there and be an inspiration to young Muslims who intend to be successful in their chosen professions without having to compromise on their faith and principles. MashaAllah, that is such an amazing vision to have, and I'm so happy to see fellow brothers taking up such visions and doing their best to sort of inculcate that, especially in the youth amongst our Muslim community. So what I am going to do now is invite Br.Sameer to go on and take the controls. Assalamu alaikum, Br.Sameer.
Wa alaikum
You should be
assalam
able to
wa
unmute yourself.
rahmatullahi wa
I have made
barakatuh.
you the
Yes.
co-host now.
Assalamu alaikum. Can everyone hear me clearly? Yes, I see a thumbs up.
Yes, we can hear you.
Alhamdulillah, 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 alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, Shoaib. It's nice to see you up on top of a mountain and still finding the time to be able to do this. MashaAllah, your commitment is something worth aspiring to. I really appreciate it, man. And anyway, don't worry. I think I can take it on from here. You can go on and finish your hike, and then inshallah, maybe
Inshallah.
come back after half an
Inshallah.
hour. Hopefully you're below the mountain then. And while
Yes.
Shoaib is on top of a mountain, I'm sitting right outside a beach, actually.
I know it's such a coincidence.
Let me just show you guys. Look at
Today,
that.
both of us had to be out of Colombo.
Look at that, guys.
So-
That is the Valigama beach, right? It's beautiful, isn't it?
Br.Sameer, I'm sharing my end as well for you.
Ah, beautiful.
So that
So we've got the
we
best
can
of
connect
both
from the-
worlds. That's the beauty
From
of
the oceans to the mountains, inshallah.
Absolutely. This is one of the reasons I love Sri Lanka so much, man. In just a few hours
Totally.
drive, you've got like anything you want. If you want the sunny, sandy beaches of Sri Lanka, you have it in a couple of hours. If you want, cold, beautiful weather with green mountains around you, you have it in maybe 3 to 4 hours. That's the beauty of my country.
Exactly.
And I think it's amazing.
MashaAllah, that is so beautiful.
Jazakallah, Shoaib. I'll take it from here. Jazakallah.
Barakallah. Br.Sameer, just in case once you're done, I'm
Hmm.
unable to pick up the signal or connect to the meeting. Just want to
Hmm.
thank you in advance,
No
right?
problem.
Not just for taking time and dedicating and preparing and coming here, but I know you're on holiday or you're out of Colombo at least, and you're still taking the time to come here. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognize that and
Ameen.
reward you abundantly. All
Ameen.
these guys definitely will keep you in their du'as, inshallah. So
Ameen,
jazakallah,
ameen.
brother.
Amin. Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. That's lovely to hear. Thank you so much. Now it motivates me even more to be able to do this. Right. So as I said, I'm here in the beautiful city of Valigama. I think it's I think after Mirissa, if at all, they've got the best beach in Sri Lanka. It's amazing. I was out in the beach in the morning. Beautiful, man. It's always so nice to be walking in the sand and wetting your feet in the ocean, and to be able to, really, what can I say, really breathe in this nature that Allah has given us. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Right. So I think Shoaib did mention that our topic for the day is called moderation in Islam. Before I get to that, though, I want to tell you this. First of all, consider yourself very lucky to be able to sit at home and learn what you're learning through this Pathfinders, initiative that they're doing here. Because, honestly speaking, for us to be able to learn these things when we were young, we had to go to madrasa, we had to sit down in, uncomfortable chairs at our classes, and it wasn't fun like this. Alhamdulillah, you've got this opportunity thanks to technology. We're able to do this even while there's, fears of a virus, fears of sicknesses. We're still in the comfort of our homes. Allah has enabled us to learn the deen and learn that which is right, and learn the right things. So alhamdulillah, we must thank Allah that He has chosen us for this, and He has given us the tawfiq to be able to join such initiatives. And please do continue learning as much as possible, because knowledge is something that you can never have enough. You can have enough money, you can have enough of many things, but knowledge is something you can never have enough. It's just like the ocean, right? Every bit of knowledge we have, is like a drop of the water in the ocean. Knowledge is as vast as the ocean. No matter how much we have, it's never going to be enough. So let's try and learn as much as possible. Right. So when we learn about Islam, that brings me beautifully to my topic. And before I actually get to the topic, let me start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is a creator, nourisher, sustainer, cherisher, provider, protector. We praise Him upon all conditions. We say Alhamdulillah in all moments. We say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. He's our Lord. He's the one and true God that we worship. There is no deity worthy of worship beside Him. And we believe and we testify that there's no prophet, nor there will ever be another prophet after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do say salawat when I say his name. So whenever I say Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you also have to say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May peace be upon him. We testify that he was the final messenger, and we testify that his lifestyle and his way of life is the one that leads us to success in this world, which will inshallah earn us Jannah eventually, which is what our target is. But having said that, we always talk about, when we learn Islam, it's always about rules, isn't it? As kids, we always learn that, okay, if you're a Muslim, you must follow rules. Is that right? Something is haram, something is allowed. Something is permissible, something is impermissible. If you do this, it's good for you. If you do this, it's bad for you. If you do good deeds, you'll get Jannah. If you do bad deeds, you'll get Jahannam. That's the standard idea of Islam, right? That is the way that we are supposed to practice. But if you look at the message of Islam, what is the ultimate message of Islam? What were all the prophets sent for? Now, Allah could have sent us a Quran and He said, okay, fine, here, this is your instruction manual. Here's a catalog. Read this and you'll know what I'm talking about. But no, He sent, I think according to the Quran or according to some of the scholars, He sent 124,000 plus messengers to this world to teach us about Islam. And what is the absolute fundamental core message of Islam? Can anyone tell me what the kalima is? Type it out for me, please. What is our kalima? What do we say when we say we believe in Allah? We say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. That's the absolute rock bottom core of Islam. La ilaha illallah, which means there is no God but Allah. There is no God but Allah. Allah is the only God. There is one God. The idea is there's only one God, right? Shahada, exactly. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Hana. Thank you, Hamdan. You're right, Shahada. So the first part of the Shahada is the absolute, absolute message of Islam. That is what Islam came for, to tell us that there is no God but Allah. Unfortunately, some people think that Allah is some kind of a version of a God. Some non-Muslims, they say Allah is like a moon god, because you look at the moon when we want to, start Ramadan, they think that Allah is a type of a moon god. But no, Allah is a translation. Okay, it's an Arabic word for which we can't actually translate. But if we were to translate, it means, the word Allah means that the one, the being, the only being that is worthy of worship. Do you understand? You can translate it as God, but God means something that is worthy of worship. Now, the only thing that can be worthy of our worship is someone who created us, someone who is in control of everything that's happening, the one that created the earth, the one that created everything, right? That is exactly what God is supposed to be. So the translation of God is Allah. Allah isn't like a separate God. So when we say God, when all of us mean, even when the non-Muslims say God, they mean the same Allah. It's just that we use the Arabic term Allah because we pray in Arabic, right? So we say Allahu Akbar, but ideally what we're saying is God is greater. Which God? Which God are we talking about? The same God that everyone apparently prays to. The one Allah. The same Allah that everyone prays to. Maybe they're praying the wrong way. That's a different story. But the belief that there is one Allah, that's the basic message of Islam. La ilaha illallah. Now, why am I saying this to you? Because you see, when we talk about moderation, moderation means to take, to not be extreme, right, in anything. You see, the message of Islam itself, the message of Islam itself is about being moderate. Why do I say this? Let's look at the kind of people that we have in this world, right? Islam says, La ilaha illallah. There is no God but one God, right? But there are people who don't believe in a God at all. You have atheists, right? They don't believe in religion. So they say there is no God, right? So you have the middle, and then you have one extreme and the other extreme. So we are in the middle. We say there is a God, but there's only one God. One extreme says there is no God at all. And the other extreme says, no, there are many gods. You understand? The Mushrikeen of Makkah, what did they say? No, there's many gods. There is this idol, there is that idol, there's a God of rain, God of sun, the God of, the God of heaven, the God of hell, the God of this, the God of the skies. No, there is nothing of that sort. We don't, as Muslims, we don't believe in that. Neither do we believe in this extreme. We are in the middle path. We say, yes, there is a God, but there's only one God. He is the one who is in control of everything, whether it's rain, sun, moon, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything is in the hands of Allah. Neither do we say there is no Allah. So what are we doing here as Muslims? We are striking the middle path between the two types of beliefs. One party says there is no God at all. Another party says there are too many gods. We say no. Listen, there's a middle path in this. That's the message of Islam. We say there is a God, but there's only one God. There are no multiple gods. We don't believe in different idols were responsible for different things. Even the mushriks of Makkah, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they also believed in Allah, but they thought there were other gods alongside him that were supposed to reach Allah for them. For example, they would go to an idol called Al-Lat and tell him, okay, I want rain, so bring me rain. They will go to another idol called Al-Uzza and they ask him for something else. They believed that there was a supreme being, but they thought these mini gods could connect them to Allah. We don't believe that. As Muslims, our belief is there's only oneness. Whenever we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, we put one finger up. Why do we do that? To testify the oneness of Allah. So you understand how we are supposed to be in the moderate path? You get it? That's the Shahada. What are the other 5 pillars of Islam? Let's see. Zakah. Let's talk about, okay. So you have Shahada, Zakah, Hajj, Saum, Salah, right? Let's talk about fasting. Okay, so again, when you think about fasting, take the Muslim idea of fasting out. Okay, you have some people who say, okay, when you fast, you must not eat anything at all the whole day. You must be hungry the whole time. That's what real fasting is all about. You can't eat in the morning and eat in the evening and then say you're fasting. Then they go to one extreme, right? And then you have another extreme that says, oh, you know what? We don't need to fast. We don't need to stay hungry. That's stupid. Why do you need to stay hungry? That's crazy. What are you going to gain by staying hungry? We say no. Again, look at us. Look at my hands, right? I always keep coming back to the center. As Muslims, we have the middle path. We say, yes, we are supposed to stay hungry because it inculcates taqwa in us. That's the point of Ramadan, right? It says, fasting has been prescribed upon you. Why is it? Because we want you to inculcate taqwa in your life. Now, how does fasting give us taqwa? How does fasting make us God conscious? Because when we feel hungry, we realize that everything that we eat and, the ease with which we get our food is a mercy of Allah. So that makes us more thankful to Allah. One of the benefits of fasting is that how you're testing yourself that if I can stay hungry because Allah has told me, then why can't I do the other things that Allah has told me not to do? That's what fasting teaches us, right? That's the lesson of fasting. So that's why we do it in a moderate way. We don't go crazy and say, you know what, just because I want to feel the hunger's poor, I'm not going to eat at all. I'm just going to be hungry for 2-3 days straight. And, I'm going to fast every day. Even fasting every day was, prohibited by the Prophet ﷺ. There was one Sahabi who said, I want to fast every day and read Tahajjud every night. Prophet told him, no, don't be extreme. He said, no, that's not necessary. You fast one day, leave the fast the other day. Fast one day, leave the fast the other day. That's what is moderation is called. Neither do we say, oh, you know what, there's no need for fasting, there's no need for us to feel the hunger of the poor. I have taqwa anyway. Why do I need to fast to get that? That's one extreme, isn't it? So again, as Muslims, we come to the middle path. We come to the center path. We say, you know what? There is fasting, but yes, eat in the morning at sahar time, eat in the evening at iftar time, and fast in the middle. So you feel that little bit of pains of hunger, which will teach you what you need in terms of acquiring taqwa, right? Let's take the other one. Okay, so we have shahada, we have zakah, we have salah. Salah. Again, look at the idea of salah, right? Now, someone might say, you know what, if you really have to pray to God, we have to pray the whole day. You can't just pray a few times and say, you know what, I worship God. You pray the whole day, be in zikr the whole day, be in Quran the whole day, be in salah the whole day. Is that possible? Is that literally possible? It's not, right? We are human beings. We have things to do to be able to survive. We have to eat, we have to earn, we have things to do to go about this world. Yes, we understand that this world is a temporary place, but to survive in this temporary place, we have to do things, right? We have to go out, we have to earn, we have to eat with what we earn. So we have to do those things. So if we are always in worship, if you're always in ritual worship, then we never get time to leave this world. But at the same time, you have people who say, you know what, there is no need for prayer. There is no need for salah. You can live life the way you want. Now, that's the other extreme. There's one extreme that says, oh, no, you have to pray all the time, otherwise you're going to hellfire. And then the other extreme says, oh, you know what, there is no need. Allah loves everyone. He's going to give Jannah to everyone. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Why are you bothering with praying? There's no need to pray 5 times a day. Maybe whenever you feel like it, just pray. But otherwise, there's no necessary. There are people who say that. But no, what do we believing Muslims do? We combine the two extremes. We come to the center. We say, yes, we pray according to what Allah has told us. We pray 5 times a day, wherever it has been made mandatory for us. But at the same time, we'll take time out in our lives to do what Allah has told us. We have to earn, we have to live, we have to eat, we have to be with our family members. So we take time out for those things. If you're constantly in the worship of Allah, then how are we going to serve His creations? Part of worship is to serve His creations. So if you do what you're supposed to do in this world the right way, in the way that the Prophet has taught us, even that turns into worship. So you see how we're taking the middle path in that. Even in salah, we're taking the middle path. We are not being extreme even in worshipping Allah. So in our belief, we are not being extreme. In our saum, we are not being extreme. In our fasting, we are not being extreme. Even in our salah, we are not being extreme. Let's take the other one, zakah. Okay, all of you know what zakah is. I don't want to explain to you. But still, we are supposed to, as Muslims, if we have above a certain amount of money, I think in Sri Lankan rupees, it's about 500,000 to 600,000 rupees. If you have to calculate, if you have money above that amount for a year, you're supposed to take out 2.5% of that. Now, that's a very minimal amount, right? 2.5% of that you're supposed to take out and give it in charity to those who need. Okay, and there are categories of people who need it that we don't have to go into that. This is not about zakat. Even in that, you see how beautifully moderate it is, right? You have one section of people who will say, oh, you know what, you should give away all your money for charity. This is nothing, what we have is not for us. You should give away all your charity. No, it's not like that. What you earn is for you, but definitely you must give charity. Yes, if you give above 2.5%, alhamdulillah, good for you, you will get a reward for it. But does Allah burden us with more than that? Does Allah say, no, you have to give 50% of your charity? No, right? Does Allah say 50% of your wealth must go for charity? Does He even say 20%? Not even 25%, not even 15%, not even 10%. All he wants is 2.5%. So there are people who will say, you know what, if you really want to be a true Muslim, if you want to be a truly God-conscious people, give away half your wealth in charity. And then you have the other extreme. Say, oh, why do charity? Why give to others? What I earn is mine. If Allah wants, He can help them. If Allah really wanted them to be, them to be well off, why should you give your money? Why can't Allah give them? That's another extreme. What is the middle path in that? Allah gives to some people and He doesn't give to some people. And when He gives to those people, He tests them by saying, listen, I've given you so much. Now take out 2.5% of that and go help the poor. Because if zakat is properly, perfectly executed in any community, in any society, in any Muslim world, I can guarantee you there won't be poverty among the Muslim Ummah. There was a time in one of the khilafats, I think it was in Africa, some African region, many, many years ago. I think it was the 3rd or 4th century after the Prophet ﷺ passed away. There was a time when people used to take out zakah, okay? The rich people used to take out zakah and they didn't have people to give it to. There was no one that was, poor enough to receive zakah. That's how beautiful that society was. So that's the ideal that Islam teaches us. You see the moderate path. It teaches us that, listen, if Allah has given you, if you've been blessed with wealth, and if Allah has given you bounties, then share it with others. Keep for yourself at the same time, but share it with others. Do your thing, be responsible, do your part. Then worry about what Allah has given to them or not. You do your part. Again, you see, that's how beautifully the moderate path is. We are not going to either extremes. We are not saying I won't give anything, neither are we saying I'll give everything. You save some for yourself, for your family members, but you give this 2.5% for the sake of Allah to those who receive it. And if every rich person properly does that, as I said, inshallah, there'll never be poverty in this world. Today, everyone's talking about all kinds of solutions in the world for poverty. But if the whole world came together and the rich people, whoever have this, value of 500,000 and above in there with them, and if they gave out zakat properly, 2.5% of their wealth, trust me, there will be zero poverty in this world. I guarantee you that, right? It has happened before, in centuries before, and it will happen, inshallah, sometime in the future, hopefully, if people realize the beauty of zakat, right? So we have one left in Hajj. Now you must be wondering, how are we gonna talk about moderation in Hajj, right? Pilgrimage. You see, Hajj is a wonderful pilgrimage. I've been twice, and I can tell you, I want to go every year if I give the opportunity. If I'm given the opportunity, if I have enough money to do it, I'd like to do it every year. That's such a beautiful pilgrimage, Hajj is. It really rejuvenates you. It gives you the spiritual high. When you're there, you're in the you're in the worship of Allah at all times. You're with so many like-minded brothers. A big percentage of the Muslim Ummah is there, right? And you're all together worshiping Allah. It's such a beautiful thing, right? But you see what Allah has done for us. He says, Hajj, do it at least once in your lifetime. That too, if you can afford it. If you can afford it. Did he make it mandatory upon everyone? Did he make it mandatory to everyone? No, he didn't say, okay, no matter what happens, you have to go for Hajj. Is that what Allah said? No, he didn't say that. He said, listen, if you can afford it, if you have money, if you can, once in your lifetime, just once. Again, he didn't say, okay, if you have money, you must go 10 times. He said, just once. Just once in your lifetime, try to perform Hajj. That's all it is. But once you've done it, now someone like me who's done Hajj twice, now I know how beautiful it is. Now I yearn to go every year. If I could, I would go every year. But again, I have to be responsible and say, listen, I must give you, if I really want to spend that money, I'd rather give the opportunity to someone who can't go, someone who can't afford. Again, that's how moderate our religion is. It's not saying go spend heavily, go do zakat, go do Hajj every year. If you just have the money, go do Hajj every year. That's not what Allah wants from us. Neither is he saying, okay, fine, you don't have to go at all. There's no need for Hajj. Saying, okay, go, but go once in your lifetime. That's what's compulsory. If you can go more than that, alhamdulillah. But again, if you facilitate someone else for Hajj, that's even better. So you see how moderate this is. Everything in Islam is about taking the middle path. It's about taking the moderate path. Unfortunately, we think that practicing, just because you're a practicing Muslim, if I'm a Muslim that wants to practice, I can't be moderate. People have this notion that, okay, someone who prays 5 times a day is not a moderate Muslim. What? To be Muslim, you have to pray 5 times a day. That's one of the markings of saying that you're a Muslim. That's not an extreme. And unfortunately, people, you see some Muslims who they mingle so much with other kind of people who drink, and people who consume alcohol, and people who party. And then when they see such Muslims, they say, oh, that's a moderate Muslim. No, that's nonsense. That's not the idea of moderation. Moderation means doing the right thing without going to 2 extremes. Moderation means to do the right thing the way Allah has told us without going to extremes. For example, Allah told us to pray 5 times a day. Now, if I pray 6 times a day, I'm going to an extreme, and I'm going to be sinful if I pray a 6th time, because Allah is saying, do you know better than me? The Prophet will say, I taught you to pray 5 times a day. Are you trying to show that you know better than me? That's the 6th time. Now that's extreme. Okay? But not praying is another extreme. That's not moderation. Praying 5 times a day is moderation, the way it was taught by the Prophet ﷺ. In every pillar of Islam, I can tell you that. Doing more than what is necessary is supposed to be an extreme. And not doing it at all is supposed to be an extreme. But doing it the right way is what is called moderation. Unfortunately, today people think that, okay, fine, if I'm someone who says that, okay, this part of Islam is wrong, then I'm a moderate Muslim. No, that's not how it is. Just because we want to please people and show them that we are like them, we try to say, okay, you know what, 5 times Salah is there, but I don't pray. No, it's not necessary. No, that doesn't make you a moderate Muslim. That makes you sinful. if you were really a moderate Muslim, you'd be praying 5 times a day. You'd be explaining to people what that means. 5 times a day when I read Salah, I'm reminded that, okay, I can have everything in this world. I can be as busy as I want, but I have a Lord that I need to remember 5 times a day, no matter what happens. So what does that do to you? It humbles you. When you're having a really good day, when you read your Salah, you remember Allah and you pray 5 times a day. Okay. Yes, Thabit is asking, I heard you can pray Sunnah. Is that extra? No, Sunnah is again prescribed by the Prophet, right? What I'm saying is, when you do above more than what the Prophet has told us, when you try to do more than what the Prophet has told us, okay, Sunnah was prescribed by the Prophet. Yes, you can do it. That's okay, right? You should do it. In fact, it's more rewarding. But what I'm trying to say is, if you do over and above what the Prophet taught us, that's when it becomes an extreme, right? Do exactly like the Prophet has taught us. Do exactly like your Ustad has taught you based on the Quran and Sunnah. If you try to go in extreme in one side, then you'll always fall into extremism. And not doing it is also not moderation. Moderation is doing it the right way. I hope you understand. So where was I? What was I trying to say? Yeah, so you have people who think that, okay, just because someone who doesn't practice Islam, he's supposed to be a moderate. He's supposed to be a moderate Muslim. No, practicing Islam in its right form is what's called moderation. Okay, you have, for example, I'm sure all of you must be knowing that unfortunately a lot of non-Muslims believe that Islam is a religion of violence. It preaches hate. Now, if we have the right knowledge, we understand that that's wrong. They're getting that from Fox News and all these kind of international conspiracies, and you can't blame them sometimes, because all they see on TV, all they see on media is forever these bomb blasts going off in the Middle East, and you have these terrorist groups that are doing it in the name of Islam. Now, that's one kind of extremism. Believing that violence is okay just because someone doesn't believe Islam, to kill them is okay, that belief is extremism. Okay, that belief is extremism. That's 100% extremism. There's nothing, there's no truth about that. You can't fight someone for having a particular belief unless they fight you, unless they want to fight you and kill you. Then you can obviously be defensive. But at the same time, just because someone doesn't believe the way you believe, you have absolutely no right to go and kill them for that. That's wrong. That's wrong beyond all means. Now, that is extremism. So what you're seeing on the news, and when people judge you like that, then you have to tell them, look, listen, what you're seeing on the news, that's a form of extremism. But what I practice is moderation. Yes? Is someone trying to talk to me? Okay, just send a message if there's anything. Jazakallah khair. So what you see on the news, with all these terrorist groups and, them trying to, kill people and, bomb blasts all over the place just because they're doing it for the sake of Allah, that's a form of extremism, right? That's not Islam. What you and I are practicing, the 5 times Salah that Allah has prescribed as our belief in Allah, that is moderate Islam. The right Islam is the moderate Islam. Okay. Now I want to show you a very important screen. Okay, there's something I wanted to show you. All right, let me show you something. Wait. Just take a look at this image. Okay. Okay, what do you see? Can anyone explain to me what you understand when you see this image? You all can see my image, right? Okay. You see, there's a person sitting with the Quran in the middle. Okay, it says middle ground there. Then on the left, you see people who are screaming at him saying, oh, you're too weak in your practice. Remember, I talked about the two extremes on the left and the right. Okay. So on the left, you have these people who are always saying that, okay, you know what, your salah is not enough, your iman is weak. You have these people who always come and tell you that, oh, you know what, you're not doing it rightly, something is wrong with you, the way you're praying isn't right, this, that, blah, blah, blah. You see, there's another person who's slowly going towards extremism by carrying guns. Oh, you are all going to hell, you're not practicing properly. And then you have people who say infidels, non-Muslims will all go to hellfire, we have to kill them, la, 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 la. They go down this abyss of hatred and violence, and they always want to talk about rules. What, everything is so bad. Everybody must become Muslim. What we are doing is not enough. They always have this negative mindset. That's one form of extremism. You see how they're eventually falling off. When you go down that line, when you're starting to think that everyone else is a bad Muslim and only you are a good Muslim, this is what happens. You become extremist, you start hating everyone, and then you go down that, abyss of hatred and violence. And then you look at the absolute opposite. Now, this is something I haven't touched. You look at the right side. I don't know how it's showing in your image, but I'm just, it says you're too hard in your practice. Haven't you heard people say that? Oh, ivara pare. They say, no, when you start praying 5 times a day, ivar maulavi avi. They say, no, ivar periya sufi baba avi. Anjuvak tolura, mashallah, pallilla. They say that, no. Have you heard that from people? Have you heard that from people? Yes, no? When you start praying 5 times a day, when you grow a bit of a bit, yeah, ivar ipa maulana, iva periya ivar sufi baba ivar. This is the sad part. When you want to practice the deen, people want to mock you. People want to mock you. Again, if you want to answer to them, and if you're going to say, you know what, oh, you're wrong, you also must be practicing, then you're going to fall into that left side abyss of, hatred and violence. Okay? But there will be people who always tell you, oh, you know what, don't worry about praying and all that, man. Allah will look at your heart only. You don't have to prove to Allah that you worship him by praying, by doing all these crazy acts. It's not necessary for you. Allah loves everyone. He'll forgive everyone. Everybody is going to heaven. There's no problem. That's what they'll tell you. There are people who will say that also. And these, we call them liberal Muslims. Okay? Don't fall into that extremism also. That's a form of extremism. To believe that, oh, you know what, there is no need for us to pray. Okay, this whole belief in Allah thing is just like metaphorical. There is no truth behind it. Unfortunately, I'm telling you, there are people who believe in such a thing. They say, you know what, just because you're a good, someone actually told me, it's funny. I had a customer once, okay, in my showroom. And they asked me, you know what, you should play some music in your showroom. You should play some music so that people can come and sit and enjoy it. And I was like, this was from a Muslim, by the way, okay? And I said, yeah, brother, it would be nice, but music is supposed to be haram, right? So why should I play it in my store? And I'll have to listen to it the whole day, and then it's unnecessary. Like, oh, then maybe you should just play some Arab music. And I'm like, okay, no, music is music. There's no Arab, there's no white. Music is music. So if it's instruments, it's instruments, right? And then he was like, I was like, yeah, but brother, it's music at the end of the day, instruments, at least I believe it's haram. There might be difference of opinion, but according to me, it's haram. They go, brother, you know what, don't think like that. Your mosque is in your heart. He started this whole thing about, oh, you don't have to prove to Allah that you're a good Muslim. Allah will look at your heart. Yes, Allah will look at my heart. Allah looks at everyone's heart. Definitely, he wants us to come to him on the day of Qiyamah with a qalbun salim. He says that with a pure heart. But you can't get a pure heart but not by not doing anything. To get a pure heart, that's what Allah sent the Prophet ﷺ for. He taught us how do you purify your heart. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. He said, successful is the one who purifies his heart. And how are you going to purify your heart? You can't say, okay, I don't worship and then say my heart is clean. No, it doesn't work that way. Your heart becomes purified and your heart becomes clean because you worship Allah the right way. Because you're supposed to, practice the fundamentals of Islam. Practice religion properly. That's how your heart gets purified. You can't tell someone, oh, you don't have to go to the mosque. It's not necessary. It's just for the for the older people, for them to feel good. There are people who will tell you that. You all are still young. I'm telling you this. People have told me this. Oh, you know what? You're just wasting your time going to the mosque. Just pray at home, man. It's fine. Yes, you can pray at home, but I want to get extra reward. That's why I'm going to the masjid. So there are people, unfortunately, today, just to look good to others, just to say, prove to others that we are not an extremist religious community. They end up saying all kinds of things that go against our religion, unfortunately. And then that is considered moderate, unfortunately. But they don't realize that's also one form of extremism. Okay? Now, we don't believe, we genuinely don't believe that killing someone for the sake of Allah is right. You don't go around killing people because they don't believe in Islam. That's stupid. The Prophet ﷺ didn't teach us that. So go teach people that. If someone asks you, why are Muslims putting bombs everywhere in the Middle East, tell them it's a form of extremism. That's not what real Islam is. You want to know what real Islam is? Come, let me teach you. Come, let me teach you what I know. Islam means, to worship Allah and serve His creations. And serve His creations, remember, His creations, not just the Muslim ones, but everyone. Every human being, not just human beings, including the animals, including nature, all of that. We must care for these things because they are the creation of Allah. So you don't go around, trying to prove to others that you're a moderate Muslim by not doing what other Muslims do. Like, oh, you know what? I don't have to pray 5 times a day. No, that's not what moderation means. Moderation is to practice the right way, to practice in the correct way, not to practice, not to tell people that, okay, I'm just like you. A lot of non-Muslims, unfortunately, you take Christians, you take Jews, you take every other religious aspect people, the reason we Muslims are highlighted so much, unfortunately, is that we are one of the only few religions left in the world that still practice our religion properly in an orthodox manner. For example, I'll tell you, pork is haram, right? For us, we don't eat pork. Is there anyone on this group that eats pork? Nobody, right? I'm sure, because we all know that it's haram. It's impermissible. We don't eat pork, right? We'll never do it. Same thing with alcohol, right? We will never consume alcohol because it's haram. We know that very well, right? So, did you know that even in Christianity, pork is haram? Even Christians are supposed to stay away from pork and alcohol. But do they do that? Majority Christians still consume it. Majority Christians still drink. Why? Because over the years, just to, what can I say, just to fulfill their desire of wanting to try it, they try and justify it, saying, oh, you know what, that's Bible is a scripture of the past, we don't have to follow it now, we can do whatever we want, there's no harm, it's okay. Unfortunately, just to try to become moderate Muslims, we are going down that same path. People of Islam, unfortunately, are also trying to go down that same path. This happens when you become slightly elder, right? You'll have non-Muslim friends who might want to go out, once in a while for a drink or something, and they'll want to consume alcohol. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, I can't drink this. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? Just have one shot, man. Just have one sip. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen to you. And then you're thinking, yeah, you know what? One sip, what's wrong? And then when you make that one small compromise, you'll do compromise after compromise after compromise after compromise, and then that's it. Then you'll go down that abyss of, I don't need to practice religion so extreme. You'll start believing, unfortunately, that a normal practicing person is an extremist because he's practicing. Staying away from pork, staying away from alcohol is not supposed to be extremism. That's the right way of practicing Islam. But unfortunately, just because we want to try to be like others, we end up thinking that, okay, you know what, we are too strict. We are not moderate. We think that we are too strict. No, everyone is supposed to be that way, but they've changed their religion in order to justify and, give in to their desires. But we shouldn't do that. Islam is the greatest gift that we have got. This iman, this belief that we have is a gift from Allah. And when we lose it and we start justifying everything that, you know what, there's no need to do this, there's no need to do that, the future generations will suffer. Then what good is a religion anyway? If you're just going to live by your own rules, if you're not going to follow any rules, if you're just going to live by your desire, then why do you even need religion? There's no need for it. If we say we believe in Allah, if we say that we believe that Allah is our creator, that he is the one who is in control of his existence, if we agree to being his slave, then a slave always obeys his master. He doesn't go against his master. What does the master say? Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this, do this. And that's exactly what we do. We don't go against the master's instructions. Yes, we will slack once in a while. We will make mistakes. We will sin. That's what humans are. Kullu bani Adam khatta. Every son of Adam is a sinner. We all sin. That's given. But the important thing is, when you sin, know that it's a sin. Consider that, okay, Ya Allah, I sinned. I'm sorry. Go back to Allah and seek his forgiveness. But the problem today is, when someone starts sinning and when they go into haram, they want to justify it. They're saying, oh, you know what? This is not a sin. This is a big problem. This becomes a huge issue then. One thing is to sin, and another thing is to justify that sin. Okay, just because you're sinning and you're weak, you can't come out of it. I have my own sins. I don't want to publicize it. I have issues that I'm dealing with. There are problems. Sometimes I feel like listening to music, and I do it also once in a while. I know it's a sin. I know it's wrong. So in my heart, in my mind, I have that feeling of guilt. You know what? I shouldn't be doing this, man. This is wrong. But as long as I have that guilt, alhamdulillah, I know I can go back to Allah, I can seek his forgiveness, and Allah will forgive me. But the moment I try to justify my religion, saying, okay, you know what, music is actually not haram in Islam. Yes, there might be 5% of scholars in the world who think it is, but okay, let's not talk about music. Let's talk about alcohol, for example. You guys are all growing up, and if you have non-Muslim friends, this will be a big part of your life. If I think that, you know what, why is alcohol haram? Or why is drugs haram? Allah talks only about alcohol in the Quran. Why does drugs have to be haram? I can go and do drugs. It shouldn't be haram. This is the problem. Doing it is one thing. Feeling guilty is one thing. But to justify it and say, it's not haram, it's not a sin, there's nothing wrong, that's where the problem is. Same thing with practicing. Okay, if you're not reading salah, it's fine. People have struggled in terms of becoming a good practicing Muslim, in terms of starting 5 times salah. There are still people who struggle. They might miss 1 or 2 every day. But that doesn't mean you can justify saying, it's not compulsory to pray 5 times a day. No, it is compulsory. You and I are weak. Let's accept that. Let's justify that you and I are weak. We make mistakes. That's the truth. The truth is not that salah is not necessary. Salah is necessary. Salah is mandated. It's a must. You must do it. Tell yourself that, yeah, it's a must, but I'm weak. Inshallah, one day in life, I intend to make myself a proud Muslim by praying 5 times a day. That's what our mind should be. Our mind shouldn't be like, okay, you know what? This shouldn't be haram. And let's not try to justify it. Because then what will happen is you'll go from one ustad to another ustad to another ustad. You'll go from one mufti to another mufti until some fancy mufti who doesn't know anything about the religion, who just calls himself a mufti and say, oh, you know what? This is halal. You can do it. No problem. You'll go fatwa shopping then. That's what's going to happen. You know what's fatwa shopping? You go from one mufti to another mufti to another mufti until the person who the answer that you want, you get from the final mufti. You for example, you have a business deal coming up. You're going to buy from one place, sell to another place. Now, there could be some problematic issue here. For example, okay, let's say you have the business of, your friend told you, go to that shop, buy me cigarettes and bring it to me. I'll give you 5 rupees extra than the shop price. So you're doing a cigarette business, right? You're buying it and selling it to a friend. Now, that's wrong because cigarettes are harmful to someone's health and it's borderline sinful. It's haram. But still, if you're going to do it and then you ask an alim, he'll say, yeah, I'm sorry, brother, what you earned is haram. That's not the right money. Go give it in sadaqah. You're not supposed to have that money with you. Then you'll say, okay, let me ask another alim. Let me ask another alim. Let me ask another alim. Eventually, you'll find some alim around the world, in some corner of some country, who will say, you know what, there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep your money. Then you'll start justifying. Oh, you know what, one alim told me that, it's okay. No, that's not what we should be doing. You see, a lot of things in Islam have difference of opinion when it comes to practice, right? But that doesn't mean we must go and get the opinion that is easy for us. If you have someone who you're learning from, you have an alim that comes to you to teach Quran, or if you have an alim in your family, someone who you can trust, someone who you trust, someone who trusts you, someone who knows your family well, go speak to them. Tell them, okay, these are the things, these are the questions I have. Can you tell me if it's right or wrong? And if they tell you it's wrong, or if they tell you it's right, take that. Don't go shopping again for answers. Never go shopping again for answers, because then you'll be lost and confused. Okay? Trust one person. Take a person who's close to you, who understands you, who knows you very well. And remember, these should be scholars who are graduated from well-known madrasas, not from some place that you've never heard of. Your parents should know about them. The society should know about them. Society should have a good name about them, right? For example, in our country, we have Sheikh Umar Yusuf, we have Sheikh Ruzaik Ismat, who comes and teach this thing. These are people who are well-known in society. So these are people who you can always approach and talk to. So always have that relationship with an alim, who you can always go and ask. Then you'll know the right way of practicing religion. But the moment, like I always say, don't justify sinning. I hate it when people go do something and then say, you know what, technically it's not wrong. No, there's no technically. What's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. You do the right thing. That's what's important. Or at least try to do the right thing. Again, like I said, we all will sin. We are all sinners. We will make mistakes. That's part and parcel of life. But if we make a mistake, we must recognize it as a mistake. We must not justify and say, you know what, there's nothing wrong with it. This is the mistakes the Christians did. They wanted to justify all the things that they did. And they said, oh, you know what? There's no harm in drinking alcohol. There's no harm in consuming pork. There's no problem at all. We'll just, God will forgive us. Like, remember that image that I showed you? Everyone say, oh, God will forgive us. We'll all go to heaven. Yes, we must have a good feeling about Allah, that He is Ghafurur Rahim. He will forgive all of us. Definitely, we believe in that. But we must do our part. Don't forget that. Okay? We must do our part. We shouldn't just leave it all to Allah, saying, you know what, you will forgive me, I'm sure. You ask Allah's forgiveness, but live by His commandments, and inshallah, we will never fall into either of the extremes, and will always be in the middle ground. And the middle ground is what the Quran teaches us and what the Sunnah teaches us. Jazakallah khair. I hope you have, this was a good session you learned from. And if you have any questions, I'll take them now. Jazakallah khair. If you don't want to ask over the mic, you can always type the question to me and I'll be happy to respond. I'll give you about 3 minutes maybe. After that, inshallah, we will see. Okay, there is a question from Saliha. She says, can we try to correct our non-Muslim friends without offending them? Yes, but we have to be very, very careful, okay? Don't do it at the cost of your friendship. Always ask a scholar, saying that, okay, I have this non-Muslim friend and I feel sorry, I feel offended, I feel upset that they're doing this. Can I, what can I do to, okay, done, Umar, it's done. Jazakallah, done. What can I do? You can ask a scholar, what can be done to, all right, what can be done to sort of, help this friend. Speak to a scholar, get advice, and then do it. Don't do it by yourself, because sometimes you might end up giving her the wrong information. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, seems like no other questions. And I don't know if Shoaib is coming. Okay, my non-Muslim friend neighbor had a dog. Can I touch it? Okay, this is not a question related to the topic, but as far as I know, try not to. Okay, but if you do, then I think you're supposed to wash your hands, or I think about 7 times. I'm not 100% sure, but if you do, doesn't make you sinful. Remember that. It doesn't. You don't become a sinner by doing it, but it's najis, because dogs are meant to be impure, right? So when you touch it, make sure you wash it off properly. I'm not sure if you have to just wash your hands or if you have to take a bath. Check with an alim if possible. Get your father or someone to ask an alim, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, there's no harm in touching it. Okay, it's just that it's supposed to be impure, because dogs like to lick themselves all over their body, right? So their saliva is supposed to be impure. It's not a pure substance. So when you touch that, you also become impure, and then your saliva is not accepted or something like that. So you have to, I think, wash it off either 7 times, or I'm not 100% sure. But you can check with an alim. Try to ask if possible. Dogs are cute. You feel like touching them. I know that. Okay. Try to ask questions that are related to the topic, please. Otherwise, I might end up giving the wrong answer. I'm not a scholar myself.
Brother, what means fatwa shopping?
Okay, so you see what a fatwa, a fatwa is a religious decision. For example, you are, can I give you a good example? Okay, so let's say you are doing a business, okay, and you're not sure if the deal that you're going to do is permissible or impermissible, whether it's halal or haram, because it involves some kind of interest or something you're not sure. So you might go to muftis, scholars who have, Islamic scholars who have learnt about 7 years, 8 years in the madrasa. They have the authority to give out fatwas. Fatwas is a religious ruling, whether it's something is permissible or impermissible. It's a ruling, right? So a mufti has the power to give out a fatwa, has the knowledge. He has the authority to give out a fatwa to say, okay, this is halal, this is haram, whether it's permissible or not. Now, when I say fatwa shopping, I mean that just because one mufti told you that this is haram, don't do it. You go from one mufti to another 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 mufti, until finally some mufti from somewhere who you don't even recognize will tell you, oh, don't worry, it's halal, and then you'll take that and not feel guilty about it. You say, okay, fine, that mufti told me it's halal, so there's no haram. I am okay, I can do it. You understand, Luqman? Luqman, did you understand? Okay, I'm not getting a response from Luqman, so says yes, alhamdulillah. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. It's past 4 o'clock. I don't think Shoaib is coming back. So Jazakallah khair for listening to me. I hope it was beneficial. And inshallah, we'll meet again next Saturday. I'm not sure what the topic is for next Saturday, but we'll see, inshallah. I think there'll be a message at the group. So Jazakallah khair once again. I hope it was beneficial. Okay, there's a question, Thabit. Can we ask 2 to 3 people just to be sure? I would say always stick to one person who you trust. One person who's well known in society, because the moment you start asking 2, 3 people, and if you get 3 different responses from 3 different people, you're going to confuse yourself. Stick to one person always. It's always best. Then you'll be disciplined in life. You will always be disciplined. Okay. All right. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Brother Sameer, and Jazakumullah khair for that beautiful session. We will now take a look at the submissions that have been sent in from our previous session. We had Ashfaq, who had sent in the key learnings, and then we have Hania that we are looking at right now. Next up, we've got the learnings that Mariam had taken down from our previous session. And finally, we will be looking at what Isa had taken down. Now, thank you so much to all of you who sent in your learnings, and just a reminder for all of you to continue to send your learnings from each session to the email address that we have mentioned before. That we will end today's session, and we hope to catch all of you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.